Hi everyone, it's Lindsay from The Creative Arrow, and this week I want to go over exactly my process for creating my drawings for Inktober. In case you haven't noticed yet, it is Inktober 2024, and that is essentially an art contest that goes through the whole month of October. There's 31 prompts, and essentially you just draw something for each prompt, and by the end of the month you should have 31 drawings, specifically in ink if you can. I am trying to catch up a little bit. I ended up getting sick, so I'm making up some of my drawings today. But if you're interested, you can do your own Inktober. I like to start with a prompt list in the front and then my kind of drawings throughout there. So I will be working on day 4. I do already have a video, I did it last week, with lots of tips and tricks for how to do Inktober and how to fill your sketchbook with each one of the prompts, how to stay on track, all of that kind of stuff. So if you haven't watched that yet, make sure to click and watch that video. But yeah, in terms of what I'm going to do today, I'm going to be using a pencil, a micron pen, an eraser, and a little bit of imagination. So let's get started. Before I start drawing, I need an idea. So I like to do a simple Google image search of my prompt or what I'm trying to draw to see what kinds of images already exist. I'll usually choose a few favorites to combine and reference for my sketch. The key here is not to copy exactly what someone else has already created. As you can see, there are a lot of ideas for ghosts holding monstera plants, but I really want mine to be hugging the flower pot with the leaves hanging over the ghost's head, kind of like he's hiding. Alright, so for day 4, I'm going to be doing my ghost again, and I do have him already kind of lightly drawn out in pencil, but I need to finish the exotic part, which was going to be my little monstera plant that I was going to have him hold. So that's what I need to finish drawing and sketching out today. So I'm going to do that part first. When I'm sketching my outline, I make sure to draw very lightly, that way I can easily erase any marks that are visible later. I also like to start with outlines of large, basic shapes, and then go back and add details. For instance, the main shape of these monstera leaves is a teardrop, so I start with that, and then I go back through and draw each part of the cutout that gives the distinct look of the monstera. I find this to be a lot faster and more accurate than if I were to try to draw the whole thing at the same time. Alright, after you're done with your pencil outline, then you can go in with your micron pen as long as you're happy with it, and we're going to start blocking in just kind of a sketchy outline of all of these things, and then I'll go in with some shading, adding depth, adding layering, pulling things forward and pushing things back. So let's get started with that part next. For the pen part, I try not to worry too much about making every line perfect, as I know I can go back and add shading to cover up any areas of overlap or mistakes. This is also why I usually end up going over every line at least twice, sometimes 3 times by the end. I just have to make sure I'm allowing those few seconds of drawing time for each area to avoid smudging. This part of the process is going to take the longest, and I sometimes don't get to do it all in one sitting, and that's okay. The good thing about pen and ink is that it will always be there when you're ready to pick it back up again. As long as you put your cap back on your pens and always have them handy, you can fill in little areas of lines and shading whenever and wherever you are, making it a great medium for people on the go. When you're ready to start adding shading, choose an imaginary area as your light source. In this case, I'm choosing the upper right-hand corner. So now I'm going to add tiny lines of shadows to everything underneath and to the left of the monstera leaves and flower pot. I'm also going to add shading to every part of the ghost's body that is behind or underneath something. Adding lines and shading gives it that sense of layering as well as the illusion of three-dimensional form. These lines will usually curve in the direction of the outline or shape of the object I'm shading, and they'll be closer together wherever I want it to be darker and further apart in places I want to be lighter. Just make sure to not go too dark too fast. Try to build your shading up slowly, as you can always add more, but it's almost impossible to take any kinds of lines away. Now, after you're done with your micron pen and all of the shading and details you want, you can go through with your eraser and erase all of your extra pencil marks. Just make sure you allow for that drying time so you don't end up smearing any of your micron pen. So that's what we're gonna do next. Alright, and then if you are happy with this and you don't need anything else, then you are done with your prompt for that day. Just make sure you add what your prompt title was, what the date is, and all of that stuff so you have all of that to remember later. So here we are. This is day 4, exotic. You see I have my little ghost here. Again, he's going to show up every 3 days, so make sure to watch for him. Again, you can see everything that I'm doing for Inktober on Instagram, here on YouTube, on Facebook as well, all at The Creative Arrow, or on Instagram at the.creativearrow. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, subscribe, keep coming back for more, and I will see you next time. Thanks, bye.